of my bummy clothes. I was actually screen printing some shirts earlier. That's why I wear pretty much pajamas and just basically stuff I don't care to get ink on when I'm working on shirts and stuff, because more often than not, like, you get ink on yourself, so you can't wear anything you want to not get ink on while you're there. Get there anyway. Changed, going on a date here before long, but I want to make this video first, and I've been going over the research on the site, and this might be a little long video here, but the article just say if it's 100%, I maybe broke it down to like 25-30%. I'll go ahead and tell you right off, you know, what the point of this video is. Then if you want to stay, hear me break it all down, some different options and whatnot. And again, this the article I'm citing will be in the first link in the description box, and if you scroll down towards the bottom, you'll see leucine. That's the whole thing I'm citing down from there, and it cites multiple studies, and it has links to all those studies if you want to go check them out. But not endorsing any brand here or anything. This is just the kind I found, the only kind my vitamin shop had. It's just pure leucine, nothing else in it, pure leucine. I don't know if that's picking up, you don't really need to see it, but make sure if you're gonna get this, make sure you go pure leucine. There was another brand in the GNC here, the next town over, but it was from the Raw series is the name of the brand, or something Raw, but yet the ingredients had all kind of taste, you know, stuff and other garbage stuff. So I mean, it's not too raw. This is raw when it says the ingredients are just pure L-leucine. Now, it's a branched chain amino acid. I'm about to get into this. I'll probably switch in a minute so it won't be so boring for you. I'll be popping some of these charts up on the screens that are on the article here, and I may you know, record tomorrow morning's chest and shoulders day. Just, you know, some footage here and there. And I may throw other random footage over just so it gives you something better to look at instead of just sitting here watching me talk for however long it's going to take. Right off the bat though, the whole point of this, just if you want to get the knowledge really quick, is what the point of this video is about, and you can read the title. But supplementing 5 grams of pure leucine right here 15 to 30 minutes before your meal increases muscle protein synthesis by a good bit. So muscle protein synthesis basically is gonna give you more gains. Okay, you're gonna be getting, you know, you always want to work. Why would you don't want to work? You want to work smarter, not harder, right? So if you can work out and lift and all, but basically when you eat your protein, right? Okay, you know, your protein is building blocks. Okay, well, increasing your muscle protein synthesis, leucine, is basically your body's using more. You're actually getting more out of the protein you eat, and more muscle protein synthesis. Again, that's where your muscles going in, actually building back up and growing. You know what I'm saying? You rest. When you're resting, you grow. So gonna start reading into the stuff here. Probably gonna switch over now. Just want to get the base thing out. Like I said, that's the whole thing and the point of this video. I'm experimenting with it after reading this. Pretty stoked about it again. The more I'm taking it, it's kind of getting less and less. It doesn't really nasty taste. It's just pure white. It's just kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I think BCAAs are kind of like this if you get them plain as well. But I've kind of, you know, I do like 1 to 2 gram scoops every time, and I'm just getting better and better. If y'all saw in the intro there, the little edit I did, I was taking it, you know, I get a spoon, take a little bit, put it in the mouth, dry, move it around a little bit, get a big swig of water, swish it around my mouth, swallow it like that. So 5 grams, 15-30 minutes before. And this experiment, I mean, again, you're going to the gym, you're putting that effort in there, training, putting that time in there. You know, you're getting your right amount of protein and stuff in, which is also crucial. I'm gonna be doing a whole nother video on that, the kind of protein you need, you know, protein timing and all that kind of stuff. But you know, you're doing everything else right, you know what I mean? Why not do something like this? It's just taking 5 grams of this on the, you know, right before you eat, 15-30 minutes before, just for the optimum time. Now you can have it at, you can, sorry, I got distracted. Somebody commented on my YouTube video that popped up on my stream. But you can have this right with your meal, you know what I'm saying? But most optimal is 15 to 30 minutes before. Now I'm gonna throw up some footage, move over to my laptop microphone, which isn't the greatest, but gonna start reading off this here. Just be prepared. If, like I said, if you want to see the science and whatnot, I'm just gonna, like I said, I got it trimmed down a little bit. But moving to the laptop. I hope y'all enjoy this video. Hope y'all, I mean, y'all already got the gist out of it, but like I said, if you want to get into the research here, I'm gonna be going into that. But yeah, hope that helped y'all. Like I said, give it a try, experiment. You don't know until you try it, right? You have to experiment with workouts and all kind of this and that, rep ranges, different exercises, training splits to see what works best for you. Everybody's different, but you know, this has studies back behind it. You know what I'm saying? So why not get more out of what you're doing with just minimal effort of just eating something, basically. So let's get into it. Gonna start reading here. I'll be popping up some graphs here and there. You know, just sit back, cut up the volume, you know, look out at the sky or something, or enjoy the video I have up. We discussed that the essential amino acid content of a protein source is a major determinant of its anabolic potential. Of the essential amino acids, leucine is especially potent at stimulating muscle protein synthesis. However, it is not necessarily the amount of leucine in a protein source / meal that is important. What really matters is the level of leucine that is reached in your blood. If a protein is slow digested, the leucine never reaches high plasma levels. It's the combination of leucine content in a protein source / complete meal and the protein digestion and absorption rate which together determine the peak plasma leucine levels. All these peak leucine levels are a major determinant of the muscle protein synthesis response to protein. And that's citing, that's a quote there from the studies Pennings 2011. Alright, so we eat protein to provide amino acids as building blocks for muscle. And because eating protein produces a plasma leucine peak that triggers muscle protein synthesis, this basically tells the body to actually do something with the building blocks of protein. Alright, the building block function is often not the rate limiting factor in muscle growth. A relatively small amount of protein will actually already provide enough amino acids to build muscle at a high rate. This is illustrated in the following study. Now, I'm going to post up here. This will be from Wall 2013. The graph there, you can look at that. Now, note that the bars do not represent muscle protein synthesis. We built tracers into the protein that the subject ingested. You can imagine the tracers as tracking devices in the protein. By taking muscle biopsies, we could see how much of the protein had been incorporated into muscle tissue a few hours later. We call this de novo muscle protein synthesis. In the group that only got protein, some of the protein was incorporated into muscle tissue, but when supplemental leucine was added to the protein, more of the amino acids from the protein were incorporated into the muscle tissue. There wasn't suddenly more protein available, but the additional leucine provided the trigger, telling the muscle to actually start putting those amino acids to a good use. This suggests that it's not the available building blocks, but the leucine trigger function that is the limiting factor for the muscle protein synthesis response. It should be noted that in this study, supplemental leucine was added to a relatively small 20-gram protein dose in older adults. And again, that's citing there Wall 2013. Could you not simply eat more protein to get a higher leucine peak instead of using supplemental leucine? Unfortunately, eating more protein may not necessarily result in higher plasma leucine levels. When eating more protein, it simply takes longer before the protein is completely digested and absorbed, meaning plasma leucine levels will remain elevated longer, but the peak doesn't increase very much. You won't reach the same peak plasma leucine levels you could by taking free supplemental leucine, which doesn't require digestion. Now you can look at this graph here is a theoretical representation of the effects of the additional protein. Note the next meal question mark there. Going to be cited, or I'll go ahead and leave this up while I say this here. Eating a small amount of protein is only going to produce a small leucine peak. Eating a larger amount of protein will produce a larger plasma leucine peak and result in higher muscle protein synthesis. But if you increase the amount of protein even further, it will take you longer to digest and absorb that protein. It will only produce a minimal further increase in plasma leucine and muscle protein synthesis rate. Although muscle protein synthesis may remain elevated longer, the latter would be beneficial if you won't be able to eat anytime soon, represented by the area right of the dotted line. Now what that means is basically, if you're not going to be eating it for a long time, yes, it'd be better to eat a lot more protein in one meal. All right. On the other hand, it won't be of benefit if your next meal will be following soon, like most people eat, basically breakfast, lunch, dinner. In contrast to consuming more protein, leucine supplementation would drastically increase peak plasma leucine levels and may increase muscle protein synthesis. As you see, the first one there, the graph, how much higher that peak would be. Note that if you would eat more of a fast digesting whey protein or hydrolyzed protein, it would result in higher plasma leucine levels instead of a more prolonged response. But whey and hydrolyzed protein are supplements, not foods, and thus behave more like supplemental leucine than actual food. Supplements are just much more convenient to really isolate the effect you're studying. Whole protein sources are much more difficult to accurately dose. The exact cooking protocol will always have some variance. The number of chews will differ. Some people eat their plate in a few minutes while others would take much longer, etc. But the anabolic response to a mixed meal could be somewhat different than what is seen with protein supplements. For example, we have shown that the addition of carbohydrates to a certain protein shake, to a casein protein shake, slows down protein digestion and absorption. That's citing Gorasein 2014. This happened despite the fact that casein protein is already a very slow digesting protein, so there was relatively little to slow down in the first place. In addition, we added a carbohydrate powder, not a real whole food carbohydrate source such as potatoes or rice, which may slow down protein digestion even more. Therefore, the addition of whole food carbohydrates, fat, and vegetables to protein may slow down protein digestion and absorption rates, reduce plasma leucine levels, and limit muscle protein synthesis response. So even when you eat a high protein mixed meal, which is whole foods with carbs, fats, and vegetables, you will likely not reach optimal plasma leucine levels or muscle protein synthesis rates. Therefore, leucine supplementation might be an effective strategy to enhance the anabolic response to a mixed meal. Some support for this concept comes from two studies that investigated the effects of adding supplemental leucine to protein. In the first study, the addition of 2.25 grams of leucine to 6.25 grams of powder protein. Let me say that again, In the first study, the addition of 2.25 grams of leucine to 6.25 grams of protein increased muscle protein synthesis. That's citing Churchward Vene 2012. In a follow-up study, however, the addition of 2.25 grams of leucine to 6.25 grams of protein did not increase muscle protein synthesis. That's citing Churchward Van, I don't know if I'm saying that right, 2014. So what's the difference between the studies? In the second study, the protein drink also contained carbohydrates and fats. These data suggest that the addition of carbohydrates and fats can reduce the plasma leucine peak and thereby reduce the increase in muscle protein synthesis. In the second study, an even higher dose of supplemental leucine, 4.25 grams, was also tested. This higher leucine dose did increase the muscle protein synthesis response. So this suggests you need more supplemental leucine to stimulate muscle protein synthesis when you also ingest carbs and fats in your meal. This already occurred when carbohydrate powder and some fat were added to a protein shake. A complete mixed meal with complete carbohydrates might reduce protein digestion and absorption speed even further and might make it even harder to reach optimal plasma leucine levels. The anabolic potential of leucine supplementation on muscle protein synthesis was examined by adding leucine to 3 main meals. They tested the addition of supplemental leucine to a lower protein diet, 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, right? And a higher protein diet, 1.2 grams, 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, and a higher protein diet, 1.2 grams per kilogram
of body weight in older adults. 5 grams of leucine was supplemented at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The supplements performed unilateral resistance exercises. That means, each limb independently. That way, one leg was in post-exercise condition while the other leg served as a rest control. Now I pop this graph here up on the screen. It might surprise you that the higher protein diet did not result in higher muscle protein synthesis rates compared to the lower protein diet. However, the addition of supplemental leucine increased muscle protein synthesis both in the lower protein condition and in the higher condition. It appears that the addition of 3 times 5 grams of supplemental leucine was effective at stimulating muscle protein synthesis rates, but the addition of about 33 grams of protein was not, which is approximately the difference in total daily protein between the 2 diets of the groups. The figure shows the data from the rested leg, but the superiority of leucine supplementation compared to more protein appeared even bigger in the post-exercise condition. Of course, even when the higher protein diet in this study is relatively low for athletes, these amounts were chosen because the study was done in older adults. However, I could argue that leucine supplementation would become even more effective compared to eating more protein if protein intakes were higher. Take a look again at the picture with the plasma leucine responses following the ingestion of different amounts of protein and leucine supplementation. On a high protein diet, which is an additional protein, what is additional protein going to? You already have more than enough bricks available for muscle growth, and more protein will barely improve the peak plasma leucine levels. Therefore, supplementing leucine may be more beneficial than simply trying to eat more protein. It may also be beneficial to ingest the supplemental leucine 15 to 30 minutes before your meal instead of during your meal. Now, I said this at the beginning, but this is, like I said, that was the main gist of this whole article, whatever, but this is where she's getting into it once you read down further into it. That way, the supplemental leucine wouldn't be slowed down by the micronutrients, and you'd be more likely to reach optimal plasma leucine levels if you take it 15 to 30 minutes before your meal. This will signal your muscles that muscle protein synthesis should be increased as much as possible. Then 15 to 30 minutes later, you start with your meal, and your other amino acids will come into the plasma. Making sure the amount of bricks available to build muscles does not become a limiting factor. Leucine supplementation alone can stimulate muscle protein synthesis in a fasted state, and that's cited by Wilkinson 2013. Now, I'm going to go back to my camera here to finish this up. Back home we go.
Alright, everybody, back home here. Finishing up here, final thoughts. Alternative leucine strategies. So this, instead of just taking it 15 minutes before a meal, here's some alternative strategies. And Greg Nuckols, pretty much, he did all this whole studying and all. Shout out to Greg. While I was working my mall kiosk, I dove pretty deep into his website on some, things. I have a bunch of videos I'm gonna be posting out about a lot of research I have read on his website. He's very respected in the, strength hypertrophy realm scientist or whatever, what I'm saying. He's very respected in that community. Rightfully so. He puts out great content. Anyway, on to the point of the video here to finish it up for you guys. Don't want to make this clip too long. Alternative leucine strategies. It has been speculated that leucine supplementation between meals might be effective to keep muscle protein synthesis elevated throughout the day. This strategy is based on the muscle full effect, which proposes that protein synthesis that protein stimulates muscle protein synthesis only for a short while. After the initial increase, muscle protein synthesis would go back down again, even if you still have enough amino acids and leucine in the plasma that theoretically should continue to provide the substrate and the trigger for muscle protein synthesis. That's citing Altherthon 2011. Again, I'm not using all from that excerpt. I cut to the chase here at the bottom. However, there's some data that suggests there is no muscle full effect in post-exercise conditions. That's citing Churchward Vinay 2012. There is very little support for the strategy just stated, doing it throughout the day in between meals. A very popular leucine strategy is the ingestion of branched chain amino acids, BCAAs. Leucine is one of the three BCAAs. Isoleucine and valine are the other two. When taken in isolation, BCAA indigestion results in only a relatively small increase in muscle protein synthesis, likely because you need the other amino acids as building blocks for muscle growth. That's citing Jackman 2017. When BCAAs are supplemented on top of some protein, the increase in muscle protein synthesis is smaller compared to simply eating more protein or adding only leucine. That's citing Churchward Binet 2014. This may sound counterintuitive. Why would the addition of 2 other BCAAs be worse than leucine alone? Isoleucine and valine use the same transporter as leucine for uptake in the gut. It is speculated that isoleucine and valine compete for the uptake with leucine, resulting in less rapid plasma leucine peaks. The same transporter in the gut, right? And they're all fighting for the same transporter. Basically, just say if you got, I'm just using an example where you say, just say that's a transporter. We have one, don't be thinking nasty now. So you have one transporter going to the hole, right? Well, you know, it's going by itself, it's all good. But now if you have 3 and they're all fighting for one, you know, which one's getting in, right? That's basically what that's saying in a visual format for you. So leucine supplementation on its own is better at producing the trigger for maximal muscle protein synthesis. And a complete protein is just better at providing the bricks for muscle growth. A BCAA supplement doesn't fit anywhere in this picture. It's worse than only leucine at doing leucine's job, and it's worse than a complete protein at its job. All right, some final key takeaways here is pretty much it. Ingest 5 grams of supplemental leucine. Again, better to go not in tablets, because, you know, just free form like this, powder, you know, super quick digested. You know, the vegetable caps, you have to digest that as well. So go powder. Ingest 5 grams of supplemental leucine before your meals or during your meal, 15 to 30 minutes. The first best option is 15 to 30 minutes before your meal. Second best option would be during your meal. If supplemental leucine is not an option, if you ran out of something, you can't get your hands on it, a whey protein or a hydrolyzed protein shake could be a replacement, and that is your third best option for getting, you know, this boost in muscle protein synthesis. The plasma leucine peak following protein indigestion is a major determinant of muscle protein synthesis. The plasma leucine peak, okay, that's what this does, it peaks that, son. Following protein indigestion is a major determinant of muscle protein synthesis. Your gains, that's what you want, your gains. And it's gonna be this is a major determinant, all right? Major key. Supplement 5 grams of leucine 15 to 30 minutes for each meal during the day. And that's it. That's it, baby. That's it. Simple as that. Hope y'all wasn't too bored with that, just listening like that. I know everybody learns different. Some people are more auditory, some people are more visual. But hey, I just saved you a lot of time, because that whole article might have took me 30 minutes to read or something. This video is what, maybe, well, no, that article might have took 40 minutes. Maybe close to an hour, I don't know. It took me a long time to read it, but I'm so interested in these things. You know, making gains, building muscle. You know, I enjoy reading. I know a lot of people don't like to read, majority of people don't read, but I was listening to a Les Brown thing one time, like, an average person reads 1 book a year, okay? I just finished up Tribe of Mentors in a little over a month. That's the fastest I've ever read a book, and it's about that thick. Pretty proud of myself. But I've really been trying to, in that book, you know, all super successful people read like crazy. But I'm getting way off topic here. So give this a try. Let me know what you think. If you got other thoughts or comments, again, you know, drop it down below. We'll chat. Experiment though, guys. Like, this isn't, girls, whoever's watching, this isn't, you know, not gonna hurt you. Science back, you know what I'm saying? Science-based videos are really popular right now on YouTube. So I'm gonna start throwing out some. Like I said, I've been doing some research of my own. I'm gonna start throwing out some. Be on the lookout. Basically, the most pretty much very science-based rep ranges. You know, looking at multiple. It might like 30 to 50 studies or something looked at, and just training splits, and the diet. Like I said, I'm gonna go back over, not just do leucine, but kind of go over the whole, you know, protein intake, spacing it out, all these kind of things. But that's it for the video. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and I hope this helps. I mean, it does. I already gave you the advice. I gave you the knowledge. Now it's up to you if you want to go to the store and buy it and give it a try. You know what I mean? Again, it's about training. It's about doing smarter, working smarter than harder. So like I said, you could be getting more gains by just simply doing something as simple as eating 5 grams of leucine before each meal. It's that simple. So y'all did enjoy the video, because this took me a good while. 1, to read the whole thing. 2, to go in and pick out, you know, certain excerpts. 3, record the video. 4, edit the video. You know, there's a lot of time in it, and I really appreciate it. If you would like the video, it just helps to reach more people, and I'm trying to, you know, help people. That's what it's all about. You know, I go through my experiences, give you knowledge, helps you save time. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing with all these videos. That's what I'm doing with all my videos, basically. It's entertainment too, but yes, but the main thing, if I can save you your life, your time, you know what I'm saying, of trials and errors I made, you know, so I could be a lot further along if I knew what I knew now a year or 2 ago. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to help you. And anyway, give it a try. I'm experimenting with it. Like, don't be afraid to experiment. You never know if you don't try, basically. And I like what Tai Lopez says. Basically, be like a mad scientist, always experimenting with your daily routine, you know, your sleep schedules, doing things in certain orders, your workout. I mean, your diet, literally everything needs to be experimented with to see what's worked best for you. Anyway, that's it for the video. Subscribe to it if you want. I'm back at it. I'm back uploading. I haven't been uploading a lot. Data storage, computer problems and stuff. But I'm back recording now. I've been super busy with other things, but back recording. Super stoked to be back. Super stoked to be pumping out some videos, and, you know, some helpful videos here too. So anyway, that's gonna be it for the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you would. I really, really, really appreciate it. I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. Stay happy, stay healthy. I'll say go make y'all some. I'm trying to see the gains to this shirt. Go make y'all some gains. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Peace out.